All right, M Sports Crew, we are back. The last game, that Sunday night game. What is the game on Monday? But we all know we paying attention to the Sunday night game. Notre Dame versus Miami. I'm going to let you know now, this is going to be a two-part video. I want to take my time with this. I really want to get into this game. So let's get to it. So Notre Dame defensively last year, they were ranked 4th nationally. They only gave up 169 yards passing the game. They only gave up 138 yards rushing the game. Offensively, they were ranked 55th nationally. We know they were a run team first with Riley Leonard, Love, and Price. We know they're going to run the ball. They passed for 198 yards a game. They rushed for 200 yards a game. Miami offensively, we know they were first with Cam Ward and those wide receivers. In the running back group, they passed for 348 yards a game. They had to. We know what that secondary was, Miami fans. We all know. Rushing for 188 yards a game. Defensively, I was actually shocked. We ranked 27th. I thought it would be a lot higher than that. I thought we'd be like in the 50s or 60s, how that secondary was. But we only gave up 214 yards passing, and we rushed for 112. We only gave up 112 yards a game. So let's get into Notre Dame first. So Notre Dame obviously lost some offensive linemen to the portal. With a team like Notre Dame and the way they develop offensive line, we know what they're going to have. Those 4 guys could have started at Notre Dame. They left because they weren't starting. That just speaks on how good the Notre Dame offensive line is. So that won't faze them at all. I think they'll be fine. Jeremiah Love, we know he had over 1,100 yards, 17 touchdowns. Jadarian Price had over 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. Riley Leonard, he rushed for 900 yards. Once again, this team they run the ball, right? Now, with Jaden Grayhouse, he led the team in reception. He had 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. 500 yards, over 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jordan Faison had over 300 yards, 1 touchdown. Obviously, they lost Collins, another wide receiver. He had over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. The tight end, Mitchell Evans, had over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. Now, in the transfer portal, they bring in Malachi Fields from Virginia University, which was a great pickup. He had over 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged 14.7 yards a catch, which was great. And Will Pauling was from Wisconsin. He had over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he averaged 9 yards a catch. And then the tight end, Ty Washington from Arkansas. Now, defensively, we know they lost Jack Kaiser. He led the team in tackles, 90 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. They lost Xavier Watts to safety. He had 83 tackles, 6 interceptions. But we know what the secondary is going to be. They bring back Leonard Moore. I'm sorry, they lost Benjamin Morrison as well. But they bring back Leonard Moore. He had 48 tackles, 11 PDs, 2 interceptions. Gray had 26 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions, 9 PDs. And they also have Adon Schuler. He had 36 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions, 5 PDs. So their secondary is going to be fine. I think they'll be fine. You know they recruit well. They got some young guys in there. They're going to be fine in the secondary. Obviously, we know they lose Al Golden, as their defensive coordinator. He left to go to the NFL, so we should see how the new defensive coordinator is going to be. But according to PFF, they were ranked 3rd best coverage grade last year. So this secondary is going to be fine. They bring in some transfers in on the defensive side. Devontae Smith, the safety from Bama, Jalen Stroman, the safety from Virginia Tech. So I think they'll be fine to have that second guy along with Adon Schuler at that secondary position. They also get a defensive line, Jared Dawson from Louisville. Now, PFF has them rated top 10 running back room, top 10 wide receiver group, top 10 O-line, top 10 linebacker group, and top 10 secondary, right? So we know what they had. When it comes to Notre Dame, that I noticed with that defense is they're going to get turnovers. They had 19 interceptions last year, 14 forced fumble recoveries. They're all about turnovers on that defensive end. They're going to get turnovers. Now, we know what their running back room is. The question is going to be their wide receiver room. I believe they're productive guys there. Grayhouse, Faison, and Malachi Fields. It's going to be that connection with C.J. Carr. We know what their O-line is, know what their linebacker room, their secondary, they have all that. The question is going to be C.J. Carr and those wide receivers connecting. And also, too, for me, it's also that defensive line. They don't really get a lot of praise or anything, but they lost some guys on that defensive line. That should be interesting as well. Now, thinking about Miami, we lost, obviously, Cam Ward, Restrepo, Isaiah Horton, Jacoby George, Arroyo, Sam Brown. You lost your top 5 productive wide receivers and your quarterback. Obviously, Cam Ward, #1 draft pick. You lost Damian Martinez at running back. So you lost a lot of production at Miami. Now, obviously, we still have Fletcher Jr. He had over 600 yards, 9 touchdowns. Jordan Lyles, he had over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. He averaged 7.4 yards a carry. Now, you have to bring in, with those wide receivers, obviously, the transfer portal. We had the number 3 transfer portal class according to 24/7. You had to bring in a lot of guys on that wide receiver group. Obviously, they brought in C.J. Daniels from LSU, started at Liberty. His best season were at Liberty. You bring in Jack Nickel, the tight end from UAB, Alex Ballman, the tight end from Tulane. He led the team last year with touchdowns. Keelan Marion from BYU. He's more of a kick return threat, which I really like. He had 2 kick returns last year. Tony Johnson from Cincinnati, the wide receiver, he had over 400 yards, 6 touchdowns. He averaged 9.4 yards a catch. Obviously, we got Carson Beck to replace Cam Ward. Obviously, there's no replacing Cam Ward. Carson Beck is who Carson Beck is. And then we had Shamar Brown from North Dakota State. He had over 1,100 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged 4.8 yards a catch. 4.8 yards of rushing as well. And then, obviously, now we're looking to see what is JoJo Trader, Malachi Tony. He's getting a lot of hype. Ray Joseph, can he take himself to that next level? Josiah, Joshua Moore, can these guys, those young guys, take themselves to the next level? That's going to be the question. It's going to be Carson Beck and those wide receiver connections. I believe Mark Fletcher and Jordan Love are going to be fine. And Shamar Brown, I believe you have those 3 running backs. You can mix it however you want to do it. Jordan Love is that explosive guy. Get him in mismatch situations with Shannon Dawson, in my opinion. The question is Carson Beck and those wide receivers, the connection. How much can these guys step up to replace the amount of production last year? That's my biggest concern for Miami is those wide receivers connected with Carson Beck. Obviously, Elijah Lofton, that tight end, Alex Ballman. I think they're going to be productive. I think Elijah Lofton, I could see it would not shock me if he leads the team in touchdowns or receptions because we know Carson Beck, his best year in 2023 was when he had Brock Bowers and he had Ladd McConkey. He loves his tight ends. That's his go-to, even though McConkey is not a tight end, but you know what I mean. All right, so I believe Elijah Lofton and Alex Ballman are going to be able to create mismatches for some of these linebackers. All right, so PFF has Miami as a top 10 QB room, top 10 O-line room, top 10 D-line room. All right, obviously we know we lost Jalen Rivers, Zach Carpenter, but they also bring in James Brackemeyer from TCU. We know what Alex Mirabal, he does great with our offensive line. I have no worries about that. Now, we know defensively that secondary was terrible last year. But once again, we had a number 3 transfer portal according to 24/7, bringing Keontae Scott from Auburn. His best years was when he was at nickel at Auburn, and I believe that's what they're going to get him back to. Jacoby Thomas from Tennessee to safety, he's a big hitter. Muhammad Toure is the one for me from Rutgers. If he is healthy the way they're saying he is and the explosiveness, I believe with him and Bassint, they can make a big impact at the linebacker room. Kamal Bonner as well, NC State linebacker as well. Xavier Lucas from Wisconsin. They bring him in. A lot of hype with him as a freshman last year. Charles Brantley, veteran guy from Michigan State. Zachariah Poyser, he was an All-American safety as well. Ethan O'Connor from Washington. He had 4 interceptions, I believe. So you bring in a lot of guys in that secondary to improve it. All right. So with all that being said, me personally, the keys to this game for Notre Dame, if I'm Notre Dame, is running the ball to set up the big play down the field. Right? Miami, you have to prove that you can stop the run. In my opinion, we know Miami struggles with stopping the run these past 2 years under Mario Cristobal. You have to prove that you can stop the run. Can you stop Jeremiah Love? Can you stop Price? You have to show me. Defensively, if I am Notre Dame, you have to stop the run and force and pressure back. We know how Carson Beck last year under pressure, he was not great at that. He's not a dual threat quarterback. He's not like a Cam Ward. He's not that type of quarterback. So I'm pressuring him. I'm forcing him. And once again, Notre Dame, they get turnovers. That's what they do best. Can we get turnovers and get this crowd out of the game? We know it's going to be packed out. We know they're going to be there. They're going to be ready to go. So if I'm Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, we have to get turnovers to take this crowd out the game and rattle Carson Beck as much as we can. So that's for me personally when it comes to Notre Dame is stop the run defensively for them to win this game. Stop the run, force them to throw the ball. You got to show that you and your wide receivers can beat my corners. And I know Notre Dame believe they have the best cornerback room in the nation, which they will have a top 5 cornerback room, I believe. Your guys have to match up with Leonard Moore, Gray, match up with my safeties. You got to prove that you can beat us. It's not going to be because of Mark Fletcher. It's not going to be because of Jordan Love that we lose this game or Shamar Brown. It's going to be because of your wide receivers and Carson Beck. Check out the next video. I'm going to get into what Miami needs to do to win this game, and I'm going to let you know as well as who I believe will win this game.